We're about to get very, very nerdy with a... Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey. We're about to get very, very nerdy with the books I read in December. So I hope everyone is having a fantastic day and is having some good final reading days of 2018. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I read this past month in December, and I had a pretty good reading month overall. I read about 5 books, but I even DNF'd one, and I think it might be my very first DNF maybe ever. It's definitely my first DNF on this channel since I started it. So we will be talking about that, but let's just get right into the books that I read this month. So I'm actually going to talk about the book that I DNF'd first, just to get it out of the way, and it is Mr. Dickens and His Carol by Samantha Silva. So this is one that I got for super reduced online. I have a few email chains that I'm on that basically send you a bunch of books that are reduced prices or free, and this is one that I got from there. It's basically about Charles Dickens and how he wrote A Christmas Carol. I realized that most of the time I was reading, I was just hoping it was over really soon, and I kept checking the percentage because it was an ebook, and I was checking the percentage of it, and it kept being really low, and I kept being super sad. So I just forced my way through, and I really don't like DNFing books, but this one, I think I made it to 44% of the way through, and I was still not liking it. And so I thought, you gave it a really, really good try. Just move on. You have so many books that you want to read. So that is what I did. So I didn't rate this one. I didn't, because I don't like rating books that I DNF because I didn't actually read the whole thing. And if I had continued, who knows, it's something I could have picked up. I could have liked it. I probably won't get back to it. It did not, no, it wasn't great. So I moved on. With that out of the way, the first book that I finished this month was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by J.K. Rowling. This is the screenplay. I really wanted to finish this last month before the second movie came out. I thought of this really great idea that I was going to sit down and watch the movie and read the screenplay before I went to see the new one. So fun fact, it's really hard to read along because there's not a lot of dialogue in this book, and at least not at the beginning, and it takes you a few minutes to read through the actions, but only takes the movie a couple seconds to do them. So you fall really behind. So that didn't work out like I planned, so oops. So I just had to read it on its own, and I didn't have a whole lot of time before the movie, but I did finally get around to this, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it is exactly what it sounds like. It is just the screenplay for the movie, and I'm really glad that I got it, and I do have the second one, so eventually I will get around to that one. So the next book that I finished in the month of December was Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I adored this book. I was super intimidated by the length of this book, and because everyone was super hyping it up, and I was super scared that I was going to create these crazy high expectations in my head and they weren't gonna live up to them, because that has definitely happened a few times this year where some of my most disappointed reads were ones that I had crazy hyped up in my head. I did think I was going to like it regardless of how hyped I put it in my head, but I was afraid I wasn't going to like it as much as I wanted to. Well, I definitely didn't have to worry about that because it was so good. I personally think it's worth the hype. I think it's really, really good. I think for a debut novel, this is amazing writing. I absolutely adored it, and the world is incredible, and all of the world building. I mean, she had to create this entire world herself before she even started writing, and I'm so glad that I finally got around to reading it, because this is definitely the book that I wanted to read by the end of the year. I believe this is the one that I mentioned I wanted to finish before the end of the year in my mid-year freakout tag, and since I publicly said that, I needed to actually do it. So I'm really glad that I did, and it's amazing, and I cannot wait for the second one to come out because it was so good. The next book that I finished this month is The Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Kaur. This is one that I got the ebook from the library, and I thought that I would give it a go, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. I understand why everyone really loves her writing now. There is a ton of really hard topics in it, and it is kind of uncomfortable, I guess you could say, because it feels like you're really in her head, and it feels like you're invading her personal space a little bit with some of the topics. I just think it's really amazing, and I think her writing is so pretty, and there's a lot of, you know, similarities and metaphors that she makes in there that are beautiful. And yeah, I don't own that one, and I haven't read her first one, Milk and Honey, but I need to fix this. I really want to own these books, and I really want to read the first one because it's, yeah, her writing's great, and I adored it so much. And I gave this book, obviously, 5 stars. So we are now getting into the Christmassy books that I read this month, and the first one is Pride and Prejudice and Mistletoe by Melissa de la Cruz. This is a gender-swapped Pride and Prejudice set in modern day. So Darcy is actually a female, and the Elizabeth character, or Luke, is a male. And it's really cool to see kind of the story of Pride and Prejudice from a Darcy standpoint. This is basically a Hallmark movie in a book. It was very good and cute, and I'm very glad that I read it this month. Obviously, I gave this one 5 stars. The very last book that I read in the month of December is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. It is definitely kind of a remaking of A Christmas Carol. It doesn't really focus on the Christmas Carol story itself. It kind of focuses on what happens if it doesn't work. So this is exactly what it sounds like, the afterlife of Holly Chase. Holly Chase is someone that is visited by 3 spirits and doesn't take the warning and ends up dying. She joins this company that is really working to bring people to become better people. So they have a new person every year, and they just work on focusing on this person, and you know, they have the 3 spirits, and they visit on Christmas Eve / Christmas Day and hopefully change that person's life to become a better person. And she is the ghost of Christmas past. And it's really interesting. The whole company setup was very intriguing, and I just love the whole idea behind this book, and the characters were very well fleshed out, and the end, holy crap, total plot twist in my head, and it was so good. It was so much fun, and I loved reading it, and it felt right for the Christmas time. So I'm very glad that I waited to read it until this month. And I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. So that is it. Those are the books that I read in the month of December. Some great reads this year as a whole, but definitely this month. Glad I got some fun Christmassy things in, so that was really cool, and I'm glad I got to read some really good books. I think all of the books, except for the one that I randomly DNF'd, are 5 out of 5 stars. So pretty great reading month, really. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below what some of your favorite books that you read this month, whether they were Christmassy or not. I would love to hear from you guys. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe and be part of this awesome growing family we've got going on over here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!